Okay, who would like to read? Nora, would you like to read?
Yes,
Okay.
communism was the main concern of the US during the Cold War.
Then, so communism, like we just said, is no freedom of commerce, and government
Government
chooses the leader.
leaders.
Okay. And when they say communist was the main concern, that means the biggest problem
Right.
to fight. To fight. My husband is from the country of Tibet. This same time during the Cold War in the 1950s, China invaded Tibet and said, okay, Tibet, now China. So the US also tried to help Tibetans fight against the Chinese because communism was the US's biggest problem to fight. But the US lost. So China was able to continue to control Tibet and let it be a part of their communist country. Okay, good. Let's look at page 89. H1, do you want to read 89?
Okay. Okay. Every year we remember American who they fight in U.S. war.
Good. So Memorial Day.
Is in May.
Yep. Yes. Memorial Day is in May. This is one of the sentences we practice for what writing practice. So when we talk about Memorial Day, we're remembering soldiers who have died in wars, in World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the Vietnam War, any war that America has fought in. On Memorial Day in May, we remember and we honor the soldiers who fought in that war. Yeah. See, page 90. Tikewa, can you read on page 90 for us?
Yeah. In the 1916, some people want to chase the lawn. These were not fair to African Americans. They want to make the lawn fair for all people.
Good. So let's remember, students, what group of people were brought to the United States as slaves?
Indian, Native American.
Not Native Americans lived here first. Who was brought to the U.S. as slaves?
Africans.
South Africa.
Africa.
Yes. So the colonists, the people from Europe, brought people from Africa to the U.S. as slaves. Even though slavery ended at the end of the Civil War in 1865, still there were many laws that were not fair to African Americans. So there are many laws that did not allow them to buy nice houses, did not allow them to vote, did not allow them to be free in their own country. So we can see here in this picture, this is Martin Luther King Jr. He was one of the many leaders of the civil rights movement. So in the 1960s, almost 100 years after slavery, a big movement, the civil rights movement, began to really be able to create more fair laws for African Americans, because in the US, even today, we still see African Americans are not treated the same as white people. So we want to make sure in our country, everyone is equal and everyone is treated fairly. Okay, let's see. Neme, can you read for me?
Yes. These people try to end racial discrimination.
Good,
This was called the Civil Rights Movement.
good. Okay, everyone, let's say these words together. Racial
Racial
discrimination.
discrimination.
Good. Racial discrimination. Does anyone know what that means?
Yeah.
What does that mean, Luela?
You try to hurt somebody because their skin and their religion.
Or for racial discrimination, it's just
Yeah,
as
that's
you said,
for,
hurting someone because of their skin color. Yes.
yeah.
Good. And then let's say this one. Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement.
Good. So the civil rights movement was in the 1960s. Sometimes I see students get confused. So the Civil War was in the 1860s. So the war between the North and the South over slavery was in the 1800s. But the civil rights movement was in the 1960s. So they had similar goals to help end racial discrimination for Black people, but in the 1800s, it was to end slavery, and the 1960s, it was to end racial discrimination. So to treat someone differently because of their skin color. Good. Who would like to read on page, oh, Nemzing, can you read page 91?
Yes. Martin Luther King Jr. was a leader in the civil rights movement. He works for civil rights for all American people.
Good. And we can see that in the picture, it says Martin Luther King's birthday is a national holiday. So that's another one of the 100 questions. Name 2 national holidays. One of the national holidays is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And his day is in January because that's when his birthday was. So after New Year's Day, on the 3rd Monday of every January, we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Good. Okay, let's practice some 100 questions. Higewa, can you read number 1 for me?
During the Cold War, what was the main concern of the United States?
Good.
Communism.
Communism.
Communism. Good. So the main concern during the Cold War was communism. Good. What about number 2? Kanya Pa, can you read number 2 for me?
Yeah. What moment trend trend?
Civil rights movement.
Yes, so what movement tried to end racial discrimination?
Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement. Good. Nor, can you read number 3? Nora, I think you are on mute.
Oh, I'm
Can you
so
read number 3 for me?
sorry. Okay. What did Martin Luther King Jr. do?
Mm-hmm.
He worked
He fought for all
The civil rights.
Good. He worked for civil.
Civil rights.
Good. Yes. He worked for civil rights. Oh, and we skipped a page. Yes. And number 4. Let's see. Nene, can you read number 4 for me?
War major event happened on September 11, 2001 in the United States.
Good. And what was that?
United States.
Terrorist
Terrorist
movement of the United States.
Good. Terrorists attacked the
The
United States. Good job, everyone. Okay.